So we moved here in 1988 from Mississippi, and the reason the move was to start over, to be honest. So my father was an entrepreneur, and with entrepreneurs sometimes you have ups and downs. You know, when things are going great and you're living well, and then things crash. So with us, there were multiple crashes, and sometimes those were bad. Those are like people call and you know you're taught how to deal with collectors on the phone. And then sometimes you go to get in your car and it's gone because it's been repossessed. So Dad was brilliant though, and people loved him, and he was a great salesman and a great person. It's just with the entrepreneurship, sometimes things go bad. So we came here because things had went bad for whatever reason. The summer after my sophomore year. So I started in Fairhope High School on my junior year, and we bought a rent house on Fish River. And I think they did that for me, to give me, because I loved water. I loved the idea of a little small boat in the water, but it was a terrible place. Mold would go out of the shower overnight, you know. It was more like a camp house, but it was a neat place. We were on the water, and it was all okay. But so when we did move here to start over, for whatever reason, Dad lost his job right away. I don't know why, I was never told, just didn't have it. And for such an accomplished person that had come from being a regional VP for a business telephone company, he could not get a good job. So he was selling insurance as an independent agent, I guess, and sometimes he would have some policy sales, sometimes he wouldn't. And there were times where the church was leaving food on our doorstep as a ministry. So that was interesting. And I remember one time we got down to one last meal, and it was hamburgers, and the hamburger really wouldn't stay together good because it was freezer burned. It was hard times, but we were a close family. And nothing like hard times to check your relationship with the Lord, by the way, too, in your faith. So man, we were praying, we were reading, we were asking God for help because we didn't know what happened, but things did not go like we had hoped they were going to go whatsoever. So Dad finally one day got this offer to help launch a safety consulting company, like a consultant that'd go into a small business like a printer, a body shop, a dealership, to help them come into compliance with OSHA and EPA regulations. And he was great at it. He was brilliant at it. He read regulations and understood them and learned them like just photographic memory. And he was really good to hire us even in high school, you know, to kind of come help out. Because one, you need cheap employees, and what better than get your kids to do that sometimes, I guess. And but it was good experience. And over time, that business grew. He eventually bought out his partner, and it was just owned by the family, by him and Mom. And it grew slowly. Had clients all over the United States. Dad would travel a bunch. We still have the truck. It's an '89 Silverado that he would travel in and sometimes sleep in the early days because he didn't have hotel money. And he would tell the story of if he didn't make a sale, he wasn't going to make it back because there was no gas money. The consulting company was doing good, and Dad had this idea to start a school, and here's the reason why. So in safety consulting, you train employees. So Daddy got into training. Training is a form of education, basically. So that training led to an idea of, hey, why don't we start a certificate program to train a business owner how to bring your own business into compliance without hiring a consultant, basically. And he had a vision for it. He's an entrepreneur, and he would have sometimes crazy ideas, but Dad knew what he was doing sometimes. And also he was praying and seeking God for guidance as well. So we did the certificate and did well. I mean, it was like $495, and it was a correspondence model. Back then, the internet wasn't what it is today. So to do distance learning, it was through the mail. And that certificate grew and grew. So Dad realized that no schools really offered a safety degree in occupational safety and health, and that most safety directors, people responsible for the safety of a larger company, had no formal education. And even to this day, usually a safety director comes out of another job and moves into it. So he began and had the idea of, hey, let's start an actual college level university program. and do it through correspondence because there's hardly none out there and there's a big need. And of course we thought that's crazy. You don't start a school or college, whatsoever. But he did it. He did it. We were behind him. We all helped. My sister, my brother-in-law, my wife now, the whole family worked along with others. Dad was crazy enough, by the way, to hire my girlfriend and my sister's boyfriend at the time before we were ever married or even engaged. Heaven forbid they got fired. What would have happened with all that? The relationship would have been gone. So it worked out good. We all got married in the end, and still are to this day. So Dad starts the school. It's under a different name then. All its reason for existing is for safety and environmental education. And it begins to do okay. It struggles at first. The safety company kind of feeds it, and supports it. And it's like a one employee thing at first. Then it begins to slowly grow. We took it for accreditation back in 2000. It took 2 attempts. That was really tough to get everything where it needed to be. And Dad even took out a second mortgage on his home to help fund what needed to be done to get it to where it needed to be. So in 2001, I think it was, the school became accredited through the Distance Education Accrediting Commission, and we thought, okay, it's really going to blow up now. That first year was terrible. It was an economic kind of uncertainty that year. Things didn't go well, so the school still was very slow. The safety company was not really growing, I don't think, that great. But eventually we stuck with it. Things began to move. By 2004, we needed more space. Sadly, that same year, not long after moving in, or even almost right before, Dad got sick. He had grown the school, and as a team effort with all those people that helped us. His visionary leadership, though, to like 5,000 or 6,000 students, I think maybe 50 employees by that point. He got sick with like a flu, and was in the hospital from April till September. It was absolutely terrible, and passed away. Dad wasn't able to make it out. So that was a big hit. That shocked us all. We never ever expected. And Dad was only 60 years old. So it was like, oh my gosh. So we, though, again, just like, well, what do? You keep moving. You have to, and Dad had gotten involved in a lot of investments, and he was doing less with the company then. So myself, my sister, brother-in-law, and we were heavily involved. I was Dad's second in command, so I knew how to run the school. But I think I was only 33 at the time, so that was a little bit scary. I wasn't super confident in it, but I knew what to do, but man, it was a shocker. So anyway, and some people wondered what the heck's gonna happen, but we pushed forward. We hit years in, I guess it was probably 09, 10, 11, where we were hiring 100 new employees a year. 100 new positions actually would be added. So crazy growth. It was a big growth time for a lot of higher ed at that point. So that was phenomenal. And we to this day don't take credit for that, either. We think God gives a lot of favor. One of our first partnerships was Delta Airlines early in the early days, and we weren't good enough to be a partner with Delta Airlines, but we had favor. The guy loved us. He loved Dad. Dad could sell anybody anything, honestly, and he was just a likable person. Tons of people in this area still remember him very well. And I'll run into people that'll say, "Yeah, I knew your dad." I'm like, I had no idea. And they have great things to say and loved playing golf with him or getting to know him or whatever. And he was very involved in the community. We were very blessed that the school did great, and we always sought the Lord for guidance. What do we do next? And to this day, the school, we have a lot of favor. We have a lot of people in the industry that love us, that care about what we do, and it kind of goes back to taking care of people. So we believe in treating our students right, giving them incredible service, keeping their education as affordable as possible, including books, making it a simple process, and it works. It's like a whole bunch of small things that that came together to that packaged together make a difference, that makes something unique. It's all about doing things right, treating people right, doing the business right, high integrity, high ethics, and if you do those things, give God the glory, it'll all work out. And that's what's got us here today.